Hello and welcome to another episode of Scott Reads Comics. I've got a really fun one today. Today, I would like to discuss my 10 favorite classic X-Men or X-Men Classic covers. Now, for those who don't know, in the later 1980s, Classic X-Men, which would later be retitled as X-Men Classic, allowed us to purchase reprints of those hard to find Byrne or Cockrum issues of X-Men, the early issues of the Uncanny X-Men, basically when they were restarted with number 94 and Giant Size X-Men number 1. Even when I was a kid in the 80s, those back issues were pricey. Some of them $25, $30, even $40 or $50 each. I know that sounds crazy now because now the prices are much higher. But this title allowed us to consume those classic stories, but with a twist, because Chris Claremont early on was adding supplementary material to the book. And of course, that included artwork as well in the form of these new covers and front piece and back piece material. Plus, there was new material woven in to the stories. And I'm ambivalent about this. As a kid, I kind of liked it, but looking back on reading through this series now, many of the times I feel like the additional material didn't add a whole lot to what we were getting. Here's an example here. I think this is Kieran Dwyer doing some, additional stuff, inked by Terry Austin. It's cool, but here we can see Apocalypse showing up. So Chris Claremont, with the benefit of everything he's done since he wrote this, is going back and adding in extra story elements, extra pages with the existing stuff. So it can be jarring. Here's another page here that's kind of inserted into the story. It can be jarring to the reader who just wants to consume some classic X-Men, as the title would suggest. I liked better the standalone backup stories by John Bolton in Claremont. Some of these were really, really good. And this Wolverine story is excellent. John Bolton is awesome. And of course, Wolverine fighting an enraged bear and getting the better of this hunter here. And it was nice too. They would play with the format as the series went along, and of course they would rename it to X-Men Classic. But you got the original cover on the inside of the back cover, and you got this beautiful piece on the back cover. And initially it was presented without ads too, so they had tons of room for this extra material. And of course, at the time you paid a premium for it. It was $1 when I think comics at this time were 65 or 75 cents. So what I'm going to do, as I said, is talk about my 10 favorite covers from Classic X-Men / X-Men Classic. And why am I starting with these two? Well, these two are not in the top 10. They are honorable mentions. I picked 2 honorable mentions. This one, this awesome one by Kerry Gammill, Classic X-Men number 25. And this is reprinting, and it doesn't say in here, which is kind of a bummer, but this is reprinting Uncanny X-Men 119. This is the final story of the Moses Magnum mini saga that the X-Men did. But this is right before they come back from Japan, stop in Canada, have a tussle with Alpha Flight. So yeah, this is great. I really love this Kerry Gammill, Terry Austin cover. Just everything you could want in a superhero comic to just grab you as it sits on the rack. Really cool, tells a little story. And we have a tagline in the power of Magnum. Really great. Just awesome. And I do love our corner piece here with the Art Adams heads. Really nice. And we're going to get to Art Adams in a minute. Trust me. My other honorable mention is Classic X-Men 97 with a great cover by Matt Ryan. War Hunt. This is awesome. I love this story as a kid, buying it off the rack. X-Men 193. Who can forget this unmistakable John Romita Jr., Dan Green art from their run? I love Thunderbird. I've been a huge Thunderbird fan. That's one of the reasons this makes my my honorable mention. It didn't crack my top 10, and I should rephrase that too. It's not a top 10. It's my 10 favorite. I'm not ranking these because once you pick 10. I think this series won 105 issues. Once you pick 10 covers out of those 105, it's kind of hard to like make them 1 to 10, 10 to 1, whatever. So I'm just going to present my 10 favorites. These are 11 and 12, honorable mentions. Love them. So let's get started. And we'll just go in series order here. And I had to include, for the first one I'm going to talk about, an Art Adams cover, right? Because Art Adams did the original run of 10 or 15 covers for Classic X-Men. Andy did the front pieces, and they're so great. Art Adams is so good. And of course, as I said, he did the heads for the corner box. This is just awesome. As a huge Legion of Superheroes fan, having the X-Men fight the Imperial Guard, which was essentially a Legion of Superheroes clone. Look at that Gladiator done by Adams on the front piece. Totally great. Yeah, this is a fantastic cover. Just beautifully designed. It's really cool, too, to see the X-Men in full color. And then the Imperial Guard surrounding them are sort of grayed out, or they're just muted. They're monochrome, which is really cool. A neat effect. I love that front piece. Of course, that is Gladiator, who is the equivalent of Mon-El or Superboy, if you will. Incredibly powerful. And this, of course, reprints X-Men 107. And here we can see some more of that supplementary material. And this material done by the great Chuck Patton. Check out my Chuck Patton Rocks video in my catalog there of videos to watch. It's a great one. I've got a Mark Bright Rocks video sort of planned here for 2025. I want to do that too because he's so awesome. But I digress. So this is a reprint of X-Men 107 with that great Cockrum artwork. Cockrum's first run on X-Men was excellent. And they're slipping in some supplementary material here. Sometimes it's hard to discern what's supplemental and what's part of the main story. And here's another one of those great John Bolton backup stories. Really nice. Very cool with Lilandra. Oh, love it. And the back cover also by Bolton. So really great. That's the first one of my top 10 covers for Classic X-Men. Second, we have another Art Adams, Classic X-Men 23. This is the Psy-War story, the origin of Professor X. Really gorgeous cover, totally great. Let's look at the front piece too with Amal Farouk. Look at that dastardly villain there. And Xavier in his dashing explorer's cap. Very cool. And this was a story that appeared and originally appeared in X-Men 117. Again, they're not listing it here. They would later put tags, and I'll point those out as to what issue was reprinted in the story. But look at this burn splash page. It's so great. Just awesome. And yeah, we're getting some pretty incredible burn artwork here. I'm not going to linger on the interiors. This is a video about covers, but I just can't resist. It's so good. And then here's a bit of supplemental material thrown in. And I think this might be, is that, let's see, that's more Karen Dwyer, Terry Austin. And then we have a high adventure backup story featuring Nightcrawler and with great John Bolton artwork. And the back cover here depicts a scene from that story. Really great John Bolton here. Just awesome. So that's Classic X-Men 23. Next up, Steve Lytle did a lovely run of covers on Classic X-Men, and this is one of my favorites. It doesn't hurt that this issue reprints one of my single favorite issues of the Byrne Claremont run, 127, Uncanny X-Men 127. Look at this front piece. Steve Lytle was just a genius. He was so great. What a loss we suffered when he passed away a couple of years ago. Way too young. Just a phenomenal artist, and man, could he draw covers. Wow. I mean, his interiors were great, but I just think he he was not suited to the rigors of monthly comic production, but what he was suited to was producing dynamite covers that made you want to buy that issue. And man, Steve Lytle was a genius when it came to that. Quick peek at the backup story. It's another great John Bolton backup story. This one featuring Havoc and Polaris. Yeah, these were cool. And we get a back cover that reflects that. So that was the third one. The fourth one, this might have been the only cover that John Byrne did for Classic X-Men. And fittingly, issue 43 reprints X-Men 137, which might be one of the most famous and sought after and well-regarded issues in the Byrne Claremont run on Uncanny X-Men. Love that front piece with the Watcher weeping there. Really cool. I think that's Byrne as well. It's just gorgeous. It's so cool that he kind of came out of the woodwork. When this was published in 1990, he was already he was gone from FF. He might have been done with Superman from DC as well and had come back to Marvel. I'm not sure exactly of the timing, but yeah, he came back and did this awesome cover. Really cool. And of course, the interior is this great double-sized reprint. And by this time, so the front piece here is Steve Lytle. Okay, yeah, so I was going to say, I was wondering if there's still some supplementary material here. And there's still, I think, interspersing or splicing in pages of extra story. Let's see here to the end. I think the story goes uninterrupted, which is good. I didn't like when they interrupted the story with new stuff, but here there is a backup story with really good artwork by Mike Collins. Sort of after Phoenix dies, after she commits suicide to save the universe from herself, she winds up in this weird interstitial space, and she's with this cosmic being who's trying to give her perspective on her life as Phoenix. So, and we get some shades here, Mr. Sinister, Madeline Pryor, stuff like that. Too convoluted to get into discussing all that continuity here. But a great cover from John Byrne, and the only Byrne that I have in this list. Next up, perhaps one of my single favorite issues of Classic X-Men or X-Men Classic, issue 46, which has another amazing Steve Lytle cover. Look at his Wendigo. This is so great. And of course, this one is marred by, looks like a tear or a stain. I think there might have been some tape or a label on here that caused that to come off. But a dynamite cover. This is one of those issues that I will buy anytime I find it in a dollar bin. I'm buying it. And okay, so by this time, by issue 46, we're now done with the front pieces. It's just a straight up reprint book. And I don't even know if there's any supplementary material in the back. And we're back to ads as well. So, and this is kind of, it may seem a little sacrilegious to classic X-Men fans, but I kind of prefer just a straight reprint book. Do give us the original cover, which is totally awesome, from Byrne and Austin. But just give me the reprint of the X-Men. Don't add anything to it. Don't alter it in any way. I just want to see the reprint. And yeah, this one's a little beat, but love it. 46. So that's number 5 on the 10 book of favorites list. And we had to get one more Steve Lytle in before we were done because he did so many great ones, so many bangers. I'm a huge Spider-Woman fan. I think this is one of the best costumes ever designed in comics. So great. And I had to include this one. Reprinting X-Men 148 from Cockrum's second run after Byrne leaves. Really, I would say this might be, besides 158, this might be my favorite book in Cockrum's second run on the title. Just really great. Who's this? Is this Bob Wycheck inking him here? No, Joe Rubinstein. So really nice inks here from Rubinstein. And getting to see Spider-Woman interact with the X-Men. Oh, this is when Angel leaves the team, too. He can't work with Wolverine. He leaves the team. He has an argument. He thinks Wolverine's too violent, too dangerous. So Angel will be gone from the team after this issue. And here we have, this is the first Caliban, which is really the first Morlocks, because Caliban is a Morlock. Dazzler shows up. Spider-Woman shows up. This is a cool issue. Some great action here. But yeah, what a cover by Steve Lytle showing Spider-Woman battling Caliban, who's trying to kidnap Kitty Pryde. So that's number 6, I believe, on our list here. Next up, Mike Mignola. He did so many great X-Men classic covers. And this is one of my favorites. Number 59, First Blood is the tagline. Really great. And this one is originally presented in Uncanny X-Men 155. So this is Cockrum and Bob Weissek. Really cool. Cockrum's still churning along here in the second run. It was sometimes choppy, but I really did like this this issue as well. Really cool. We get Tigra showing up. This is so much fun. Love Deathbird. Really great. I recently covered that Hawkeye Epic Collection with Avengers 189, and Hawkeye fights Deathbird one-on-one in that one. Really cool. We get the Brood showing up. Just great. Yeah, so that's a dynamite Mike Mignola. Next up, another Mike Mignola. Now this one is a big fake out. This is not Phoenix, even though we get to see this. What if Mike Mignola had drawn a Phoenix story? Well, here it is right here on the cover. Totally great. Mike Mignola artwork here. And P. Craig Russell is doing the inks here. I think he's credited. So that's really cool. And we see Phoenix, Nightcrawler, some members of the Imperial Guard, some other various Shi'ar officers. And this one was originally presented in X-Men 157. My only regret with them when they went to X-Men Classic is you didn't always get the cover, but here we do. So that's great. There's our original cover. So you can see it's actually nicely reimagined here by Mignola. Very cool. I think of the two, as much as I like Cockrum's cover design, I do like this one a lot. Really great, Mike Mignola. Awesome. We're getting down to the wire here, just a couple left. And so number 75, Adam Hughes did a handful of really cool covers for X-Men Classic. And this one is awesome because, again, this is one of my personal favorite X-Men stories, 171. This is reprinting with Walt Simonson artwork when Rogue joins the X-Men. Really great. Walt Simonson as guest penciler. Welcome to the X-Men, Rogue. Hope you survive the experience. And this depicts a scene that actually is in the story. Really cool. Love Adam Hughes. Great cover artist. His interiors from the early Justice League stories when they reimagined it after Crisis are really great too. Very good artist. And then finally, number 87, Uncanny, X-Men Classic number 87. This incredible Paul Smith cover from 1993. Boys Night Out. This one reprints X-Men 183 when the X-Men have come back from the Secret War and Colossus has to tell Kitty Pryde that he was involved with the alien Saji when he was on the battle world, the Beyonders battle world, and he had a romantic relationship with her. And so he breaks her heart. And to punish him, Wolverine takes him out to rough him up, but they run into the Juggernaut at the bar, and a fight ensues. And I love this John Romita Jr. artwork. Really cool. Great cartoonist here, John Romita Jr. Yeah, really great. Oh, I love this. So cool. So yeah, we get a great cover from Paul Smith, and he did a handful of X-Men Classic covers, and this is one of them. So that's number 10. That's 10 really great covers from a really great reprint title that Marvel did in the 80s and 90s. They did, I think it went to like issue maybe 105 or something before the book ended. But what a run of awesome reprints. And the covers really sold you, brought you in. A new generation of fans were able to read these sometimes hard to find stories. Just a great title all around. And this was a fun one to do. I'm going to try to put more videos like this together this year where I look at groups of books and or around a theme. We'll see how it goes. Let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends, and I'll bring you more soon on Scott Reads Comics. Thanks for watching.